Okay, interesting. Jam. Please don't ask me about the 18-year minimum age for jam, WAEC and NECO yet. Another time. Today, we want to talk about children that are resuming school. And, most of the time when we talk...
Younger children. Not those ones that are NECOing and jam. Jambing.
No.
Not those ones.
Even though those ones are also children, but they are not the ones we are talking about.
Okay.
So, when children are going to school, the kind of things we pack in their food, lunch bags. That's the focus of this conversation. I gotta say this earlier. When I was younger, I was going to secondary school, Form 1 then. I was not even a teenager at the time. And I was going to school. My mom packed so much for me to take to boarding school. But there is one I would never forget. She fried fish. My mom fried fish and laced it in pepper, or yilata, and put it in...
That is called fish yilata.
Fish yilata.
Yes. Fish yilata.
Your head is not working. So I took that to school. Well, let's just say I will never forget that experience. I don't know what kind of experience you are giving your children, but what kind of experience should you be giving your children, particularly now that things are the way they are in our economy and in our country. Bimbola Adesami joins us. She is a nutritionist, and she's going to be taking us through what you need to put in those lunch packs. Thank you for joining us this morning, madam. Please don't make fun of me. I had fried fish. Fish yilata. Okay. But looking at our reality in our country now, madam, what are your recommendations? What are the things that we did before that we shouldn't do again? What are the things that are risky to give to our children to put in their lunch boxes in any part of the country?
Thank you for having me, first of all. And your experience resonates with me also.
Oh, okay.
Because, because we also, going to boarding house was a whole different experience, and we tried so many things, even making our sauces in tins, Milo tins, and covering them up. So, of course, things have changed now. If we're going to look at what is prevalent in the country, the hike in food prices, the food poverty across the country, parents have to make choices, right choices to provide adequate diet for their children. And one of the things that they have to consider is the fact that the urbanization has affected so much. We have migrated from what we used to know, the indigenous nutritious foods used to know, to sugar-based foods, high-salt foods, processed foods, which are not all bad, so to speak, but we need to watch out what we are providing for these children. So first of all, we need to also look at how can we go back to those indigenous foods? How can we reintroduce them to these children? How can we get them to understand healthy eating habits, which at the middle school, as you call them, children between the ages of 5 to 9, that is when they learn about healthy eating habits and how they can also build a menu, a recipe for themselves as they grow older. So definitely these are the things that parents need to put in place as we prepare them for school now.
Madam, what kind of foods are you talking about? When my children were in that age bracket, we packed a fruit drink, which most of the time didn't contain any fruit. We packed biscuits. Occasionally, we would put a fruit, but I think that was rare. The occasion was rare that you put a fruit in your child's lunchbox. So what kind of thing are we talking about in today's Nigeria?
Well, in today's Nigeria, we can't take away our 7 food groups, the grains, the legumes, and we'll notice that most children hardly eat breakfast to school, which we should reintroduce to them. Breakfast has to do with a cereal, something like pap, something like tapioca, something like oats for them to have just a cup. Tom Brown. Tom Brown is the more nutritious 5-grain, 2-legume meal that the children can have just like a drink in the morning that gives them that energy boost for their cognitive work during the day. Then when we pack meals, which is the main meal we pack for them to go to school, we usually play around the grains, rice, spaghetti, indomie, some explore beans, and so some explore the tubers, potato, yam. While they are the base meals, we should also look at how to introduce proteinous meals into it, vegetables as well as fruits. So it would be good to also introduce to the children fruits that are in season, that are also protected on its own. Not that we will have to cut something like a watermelon and wrap, rather something like orange that is peeled or banana that is already in its own natural casing. It makes the hygiene secure for the children. And then when we make the rice, we look at how do we make it nutritious, using vegetables, using the fish, for example, anchovies, small fish that are used to make sardine, which we have in abundance in riverine areas, Lagos, rivers. Other places can use the small-sized catfish to make the sauce or the vegetable. One of the things that we should remember is that growing up, most of the families had a homestead garden around their household where you don't have to quickly rush to say, oh, I don't have this in the house. You just look outside and pick something that you can easily make a meal with. Your vegetables can easily make a meal. Some other vegetables like the carrot, the cucumber, grow well in household settings, and they can easily be introduced to the meals of these children. Yes, the children also have been trained with the increase in advertisements and processed foods. They still like their sugary drinks. We could introduce more of our own local drinks, which are made from the sorrel leaf, the hibiscus leaf, which is the zobo, which we call it. We also have yogurts that we can give the children that we prepare, and we are sure that this is prepared from the home and the hygiene is secure ourselves.
Interesting that you just mentioned zobo now, because I was going to take you up on those processed foods you mentioned. It's nutritionists such as yourself would always advise us, guys, close the gap between the farm and table. Between the farm and the table, the distance between the farm to table should be shorter. And the shorter the gap, the healthier the meals. That's what we have been told. So there are those who will be wondering where the place of noodles and spaghetti are in that. Yes, I mean, the reason for this conversation is because we know that the high cost of living is a reality. And you have also identified the fact that back in time, things were easier because there were so many choices, things to choose from. It would seem like those choices are limited now. So in terms of processed foods, which ones are the ones that we can avoid? Which one are the ones that we can't really do without given the realities that we have to contend with?
Well, I like your question about the foods that we no longer have access to. But the question is, do we really no longer have access to them? Because if we go sit back a bit and look at what we are doing now, I mentioned urbanization, where most parents are on the go. And so we look at fast foods, we look at easy meals that are accessible and disposable cash that is around us. And so the child is hungry, you branch at a joint and take meat pie or egg rolls and buy such for the child. Yes, those work, but then balancing it with the family meal is also good. So when you look at the Indomie, your Indomie can be spiced with so many vegetables. You can also add the protein, the egg, the chicken, the beef. But of course, with the price inflation right nowadays, the egg is the best bet, or small fish is the best bet. So we wouldn't say we condemn meals, because a lot of these processed meals happen to be cheaper than the farm products that we claim to have, except if we're growing them at our own backyard. If they're being transported from other areas of the country, the price cost with the fuel increase will affect them. So what we all fall back on are the processed foods, the spaghetti and all that, which of course we can enhance from the household, and that will help.
Interesting. Is there a role for schools here? Because I'm aware that there are some, we've featured one or two of them here. There are some people carrying along the campaign that we should ensure healthier meals for children. Yeah. Particularly because as they grow older, these meals that they have taken, the consequences or the effects of some of them, particularly those who have been preserved one way or the other before they were taken by the children, they have long-term effects on them. So that's really the basis of this conversation, madam.
Yes. So in dealing with child malnutrition, the school has a major role to play. There's a school education system that needs to nurture a lifestyle of healthy eating. And when we talk about a lifestyle of healthy eating, what is sold around the school environment is key. The nutrition education that the children receive within the school premises is key. And the nutrition education has to be spiced with hands-on training. For example, you have a nutritious garden, which we call a school garden, which is used for home economics, which is used for agric, and which is used to help children understand that what we grow is what we eat, apart from the agribusiness part of it. The schools should also take charge in regulating the effect of sales of foods, processed foods around their environment. Because once children have easy access to funds, we look at them buying sugary things as against nutritious things. So we have 3 growth stages in childhood, where between the ages of 0 to 2, there's a rapid growth. And then, of course, we talk about breast milk for them. But when you look at between the ages of 5 to 9, it's another opportunity for catch-up growth. Because at that point, a lot of them who have missed nutrients, who have been malnourished, who are stunted or wasted, they catch up there. And when they catch up there, what it means is that they are also able to learn and imbibe a culture of healthy eating. The last group is the adolescents, which is between the ages of 12 and up to 19, where it's another stage of rapid growth, where their muscle mass is being built, iron is needed for the girls. These are stages where one needs to focus on, alongside the development of the brain for cognitive function and of the schoolwork. So those are the different stages that we need.
In today's world, where daddy has to go to work, mommy has to go to work, in the morning everybody's rushing out of the door, how would you advise women to meet these goals that you're giving them, to give their children balanced nutrition to take to school?
So as I said, the family is first of all the place of learning. So even the mother who is busy should have handy snacks that can easily be pulled together for the child. We need to all go back to this culture of growing what we eat. We need to all go back to seeing a vegetable garden and asking the child, go and get me 5 leaves of ewedu there that I can use for food. We need to say, get me 2 carrots that I want to put in your meal box. And you rinse it before the child and put it there. Yes, they have different seasons, but we should have within the house options that we can easily pull onto and say, this is better than the biscuits you are eating. While also being able to prepare healthy snacks for the children that help them to understand why they need to make right choices. So, for example, a parent who is very busy should be able to look at something like the egg, boil an egg, and keep it for the child to go to school. That is something that you boil an egg while you are doing so many other things, it doesn't disturb. You can make pancakes also for the child, which is flour. The flour is fortified. The sugar is fortified, but you can regulate what you are giving your child at home. So those are things that we can still do on the go and also train the children to do themselves. And they'll feel empowered to be able to make those choices themselves.
I'm just trying to imagine a kind of community gardening initiative in some estates who don't have land. Everywhere is already tarred and paved, and next thing, you're asking us to go and grow what we eat. It's like you're looking for trouble. Anyway.
Backyard farm.
So, while all of these sound fantastic, and I also like the fact that you said that experience can also help children to learn, so that they don't say that they pluck carrots from the tree or that they dig oranges from the ground, which is a good thing. So for parents now, what are the things that you would advise that they get today before the children resume on Monday, or in the subsequent or coming days or weeks from time to time, that is important for their children, particularly those ones are circa toddler ages now?
So first thing to help mitigate the effects of price hikes is to buy in bulk. Make sure you have the basic grains in the house. You could have your rice, your spaghetti, your indomie, but also have the basic ingredients per week that you can now use to mix and match to achieve an adequate diet. A crate of eggs will do for a week without even having to put them in the fridge. You could have dry fish around the house that you could also just crumble to make a sauce for the child to go to school. For those who are also able to get the chicken, it's better to fry them and keep them in the fridge, and pick when you need for the child as you go to school also. We also have people who explore. In this season, we have a lot of potatoes out. We have plantain out. We should stop with that, either ripe or unripe. They ripen on themselves, and it can be boiled for the child or fried for the child. So all those have to be in the house, not that you buy as you need, you buy and stock per week, and allow you to make decisions during the day that this is what I will prepare for the next day.
Well, we have to thank you very much this morning for the time that you have spent to educate us on this particular subject matter, because food, no child will concentrate in any class if there is no food in the stomach, or expectation or aspiration that, okay, after this class, I'm going to eat something. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Ms. Bimbola Adesami is a nutritionist. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you for having me.